All right. I just saw Perfect Blue and I got to see it in theaters. And here's the thing. I heard about this film like in the last year or so. And I was thinking about, I was like, you know what? People talk about this film. I looked it up and I just seemed like an interesting film. I didn't watch no trailers in there. I just knew that it was about like, like celebrity people and like maybe like K-pop star and like that. And it's like basically that's pretty much all I really know. And so I said, okay, I'm gonna go to the movies because they have it in the theaters. And I got a chance to see Perfect Blue, and it was interesting. It was a good film, and you know what's crazy about it? It was very different than I expected. And you know what? There was definitely a lot more nudity than I thought it would be in it. It was a lot more. There was a lot more nudity and a lot more blood and a lot. This movie came out a while ago, and it just reminds me like how much they really went for a lot of things. Like, I mean, anime still goes for a lot of things now, but I'm just saying like I gotta look up when this was made, but like it just they go for it. They go for it. They don't pull any punches. Like if you want to get a deep dive into like how kind of reckless the environment could be, as someone being an idol or a celebrity, you could kind of you get all of it here. And I won't lie, parts of the film definitely were a little confusing at first because almost parts of the film feels like a dream, or it feels like almost feels like a nightmare, some parts of the film. And it almost mixes like with the real world because the way they do it, because Mina, I don't know, hopefully I'm not saying her name wrong. Mima, I believe Mima. That's her name, I'm pretty sure. She was a K-pop star, she was a singer. And then, they're like, oh, hey, you should do acting and all this stuff, you know what I mean? So then now they get her into acting, whatever. And now she's like, oh, I'll do it. I'll be an actress, And the show that she's on is kind of mixing the real life events happening in her in her life, like things going on, like people actually being investigated for some crazy crimes and committed in her area. And then when she goes on her crime show, it's like the way that they edit it is almost like it kind of pulls your brain in both ways. Like you're not really sure what's happening, but it was definitely interesting because they really make you think about like just even today's pop stars, like, oh, why did a pop star go in this direction? I mean, obviously they have, their managers and things like that, but the way they do it is pretty interesting in anime. So I definitely like that. And it's interesting because it becomes like a crime drama thriller pretty much for like a pretty much the whole film. And I wasn't really expecting that. I was expecting more of like, I don't know why I was expecting it to be like fun. I don't know why. I didn't watch any trailers. I just knew like people talked about this movie and I was just like, I don't know why. I just thought it was gonna have like more fun. Maybe because I think it's anime, it's gonna have like, but anime is there's all type of genres, but it was definitely more like a crime drama thriller. And then like kind of introspective on like celebrity culture and like the nature of it, you know what I mean? And like the crazy part is like it's definitely relatable even now, obviously, but like things like that, like it don't really change too much, but it's just crazy seeing like there's a scene where it was kind of crazy to watch on the theater. It was like it was a pretty extended scene too, but she's playing this role in this crime show where her character gets taken advantage of, and to say the least. And basically that scene is pretty long, but it's obviously long because they're shooting a movie of it happening, so they're able to show it happen longer because it's not really happening. It's just but the acting that she's doing is so good, and then the way the film is showing it is just like so like intense. And then also then they have the people in the background, which is like her talent manager or whoever is her who's kind of like her person who's been with her from the beginning since she's trained in music and became a K-pop star. Now she's doing this actress thing. So she's watching her do the scene and like she's like breaking down because she's hearing like the people in the break room talk about, oh yeah, K-pop stars are always a good transition to like to like movie scenes and stuff like that, like in a way that's like, no, not the best way. And then she leaves the room, and like, I don't want to spoil anything, but what I'm gonna say is like, obviously this movie came out a while ago, but what I'm gonna say is something happens with her character towards the end, and that makes sense because it's almost like someone like breaking down, and like break it down to a point where like they could have maybe like a split personality or something. You know what I mean? Obviously that could be a bit of spoil, but what I'm saying is like that it's like if someone goes through something and they have so much emotion and they go through a traumatic experience, it can make them kind of split. And it was very confusing because like she has like this imagination of her K-pop idol following her around and kind of telling her, hey, what are you doing? You know, this is not who you are, and different things like that, or this is who you really are. And then that K-pop imagination is floating around during the film, so it's kind of confusing a bit, but then towards the end it kind of wraps up in a satisfying way. And I do think that it's definitely an interesting watch for anyone who just, I mean, it's an interesting watch for anyone, but just like, I feel like you could feel it more. Like, I feel like I feel it more because, like, I don't know. I don't know if it's because like artists are so big right now, but they're always big. You know, artists, celebrity. That's why they're celebrity. They're always pretty big. You know, it's in the name. Like, for celebrity, they're big. Most people know them, and obviously when people do certain things in their career, they're going to do it for them, but then there's also a whole bunch of other reasons why people do things, you know what I mean? And when you do that, it changes the perception of how you look at them. But then also there's fans on the other end. There's people who are like, oh man, I didn't think she would do that, or oh man, I didn't think he would be in that type of movie. Like, oh, I thought he was more on this side of things, you know? Like, there's a lot of millions and thousands of people are watching someone and they're becoming a fan, and then if they do something drastic that changes their shift and their point of view of someone, like, it's almost like you're losing a best friend if you're a really big fan. And like, pop stars do this all the time. Sometimes they go bad, sometimes they go dark, sometimes they go country, sometimes they go pop. Like, they change, you know? And it's just interesting seeing, like, there's a character in this who's like big fan, and his obsession becomes, you know, it goes in a crazy direction, and it's just like, it's realistic, but it's also like the way they do it is unsettling, but it is realistic. Like, this guy, he has this thing called Mima's Room, I believe, if I'm saying her name right. I'm sorry if I'm not, but I'm pretty sure, I feel like it is Mima. But basically, he has this thing online called Mima's Room, where it's basically like, imagine if like Taylor Swift or someone had a blog. I don't even know, because I'm not even in those rabbit holes. But what I'm saying is, like, he has a website where it's called Her Room, like, whether it be Beyonce's room or whatever. He has it's called Her Room, and basically he writes everything that she does. like she stepped on the train with the left foot first, like certain things, you know what I mean? And then she finds out about this site, and she's going through the site, reading it, like, interested in the beginning, and then she realizes, oh, this is stuff that happened in my day. like so it kind of gets intense. And then, you know, obviously when this character and other characters see, okay, oh, Mima, she's doing different things. She's doing things that she wasn't doing before. She was doing K-pop, and now she's doing all these provocative shows and stuff. Like she's doing photo shoots. Like, they're like, this is not her. We need to get the real her. We need to basically destroy the fake her, because it's destroying her reputation. You know what I mean? So it's interesting the way the story unfolds, and how it kind of makes you think about the different perspectives of someone, and when a celebrity might make a decision, and who's behind those decisions. And also, at the end of it, it's a human. There's a person who's doing all these things, but at the same time, are they doing it for themselves? You know, that's why I like the end. Even though the ending was a bit confusing for me, going through the imaginations of her K-pop star and idol, following her a little bit through the story, and also going back and forth between the show she was filming and then the real life events happening in her event, real life events happening in her in her city, the crimes and stuff kind of coinciding with the show. So the way they were shooting was almost confusing, but it was interesting the way they tied it all together. But I like the ending because I just like how at the end she's like I'm Mima. Like, she says, like, she's herself basically at the end. Like, it basically seems like at the end she's like, there's no split personality. It seems like she was a pop star, she was an actress. I don't know if she's still an actress by the end, but I don't think she is at the end, but it just seems like at the end she's just trying to live a regular life, and I like that. I like that at the end. She's like, I'm like, she's herself at the end. But it does. I think this movie does encourage rewatches for sure because of the way they tell the story. So it, like I said, it could be a little confusing at points, but ultimately I did enjoy this film. If I did have to give this out of 5 stars, I would give this like, I would give this a solid 4 out of 5. I really would. It was enjoyable. The only reason I was thinking about going lower is just because I just like some of those, I just feel like some of the scenes are like so intense that I wasn't ready for it. But I can't blame the film. I can't blame the film. I didn't know what I was getting into. I went into Perfect Blue thinking I was gonna watch like some, I don't know. I didn't know anything about it except for it's about an idol and maybe obsession and stuff. That's pretty much all I knew. And I just thought it was gonna be more fun. And I thought it was gonna be like I don't know. I just thought it was gonna be more fun. And like I don't know why. Like I just thought I saw the cover and I said, oh, this looks cool. It's a movie theater. I went in blind, and I was blindsided by the realness of it and the mature nature of it and how and all the details and based of the story of how the seriousness of it. Basically, I was not expecting all of that, especially the gore and the fight. This stuff in there that I didn't expect. So, but I can't knock it down for that. But my experience was still like I said, 4 out of 5. It was pretty good. But if you haven't seen Perfect Blue, check it out if you like. I believe it's still in the theater, so if you want to check it out. And this is Dejour. Know the name. Take care. Spread love and light. And let's sign off.